Podcast. Should we?
Yeah.
Should we record?
We should. We should.
Okay. Yeah, I think. Were we already recording?
Mm-hmm. We done been recording.
Maybe we'll just leave this in. Hey, everybody. It's the Handsome Hockey Podcast. We are here with episode 81. My name is Jake. Across from me is
Evan.
We're talking about the whale today. Should we redo this?
It's not till later, so I'm going to bury the lead.
All right. Well, anyways, we're talking about the whale getting paid. But
yeah, fun women's hockey news. But we're going to start with the
worst fucking thing.
Yeah, if NHL is boys hockey, this is the children's hockey. This is
Chillins.
Yeah, damn chillins. Get off my lawn. More like get on my team. There was a draft lottery happened, and balls dropped in secret. There was digital balls. I'm not even sure. The whole process by which the draft happened
It was all by AI, so it can't be trusted.
Yeah, crazy. Like, yeah, the NHL is like every business bro that was into crypto last year, and they're like, here's my new thing, AI. And funny enough, the AI brought the Phenom prospect to one of the juiciest markets that you have to offer. Funny how artificially intelligent that seems.
Yeah, the artificial intelligence is called Gary called Chicago to number one.
Yeah.
And even Kevin Weeks knew that this was happening.
Well, Kevin Weeks knew that. So the process is very interesting because they all saw the backroom like selection of these players. Like, so they went into the broadcast already knowing the order, and then they fumbled the bag.
Yeah.
Like, if you just wanted to make sure people felt confident that this was some sort of even and fair thing, fucking up the broadcast is not a way to do it, because then everyone goes Zapruder film instantly.
If you wanted to make sure that people didn't go Zapruder film, you could, I don't know, maybe not have Gary fucking Bettman as your commissioner, who has done this many times before.
Oh yeah, and many
twice for Chicago.
Many times have been alleged, and now Anaheim is the runner-up at number 2 in both the Bedard draft and the Sidney Crosby draft.
And they fell in the which draft was it? Was it they fell in the Lafreniere draft too, I believe. Which,
yeah, I mean, good for them. Yeah. that was just doing them a favor.
Yeah.
But for the uninitiated, Connor Bedard, largely considered one of the better draft prospects to grace the NHL in, I don't know, at least 10, 20 years, something like that.
I would say probably since McDavid. He
ended up going, or presumed will be going to Chicago as a result of them winning the draft lottery, jumping from 3-1. And so Connor Bedard will go to ostensibly rebuild a absolutely gutted Chicago team. Lost both of its stars and
lost in scare quotes there.
Yeah. Jettisoned both of its star players.
Jettisoned both of its star players, traded away all of its young talent, very clearly tanked, and was rewarded for that tanking in a league that doesn't tank.
Yeah. I mean, that doublespeak continues to be hilarious because, I mean, smarter people say that teams don't tank, coaches don't tank, front offices tank. And that's exactly what happened here. They put a roster on the ice that was devoid of talent, and they traded,
including Seth Jones.
Especially Seth Jones and his brother. But Nepo babies extend to Chicago.
Yeah.
Or nepotism, whatever. But they put together a team that was a house of cards, and they knew it. And then they traded away all of the lower cards that they could get for it. Like they'd signed players that they knew they would trade and signed them to contracts that were eminently tradable. You could go on and on about the virtues of tanking versus not tanking. And I kind of agree with Ryan Lambert of Puck Soup that, like, if you're not one of the top couple of teams in the league, like, you should be actively tanking. Like, there should be more sellers than buyers at the trade deadline than we see.
Well, the NHL actively discourages that by the loser point.
You're right. Yeah. And that said, I wanted to see Bedard go to Anaheim just like everybody else.
I wanted Anaheim or Arizona. I would have been okay with Arizona.
I would have been okay with Columbus too.
But we don't know. Nothing good can go to Columbus. But we also don't know where Arizona is going to be, foreshadowing in the near future.
We'll get to that later. They could be playing on Mars.
Yeah.
So Kevin Weeks fucked up in the broadcast and made a comment as they went to commercial about Columbus dropping. And everyone just like sat during that commercial with like buttholes clenched, like wanting to like, oh, because everything was chalk up to that point. Everything went according to the odds, according to plan. And then like this was the first indication like, oh, there's trouble between 1 and 3. And then like, and it got slipped by Kevin Weeks, which was A, kind of amazing, and B, such a fuck up.
So that's the second year that this has happened too.
Oh, really?
That it's gone perfectly chalk
up
until the top because Seattle leapfrogged Anaheim a couple of years ago as well.
Well, and that's also what happened the year that the Blackhawks got into draft Kirby Dach.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like Bedard is going to a team that has drafted high at essentially all the right times. And I don't know. It's not like, I don't think it's a conspiracy. It just fucking feels like one.
So my take on this is it's a definite fucking conspiracy. And I'm so sick of Gary Bettman's bullshit. I want him out as commissioner. I've said this numerous times on this podcast.
So the shot came from across the grassy knoll.
I am like the shot. Yeah. And Gary Bettman fired it. Like he was in the warehouse or the book depository.
There were 3 Garys.
This is fucking bullshit.
They covered all the bases.
Every fucking year there's something that comes out where people are like, oh yeah, Gary Bettman sucks at his job. And yet we've in like year like 27 of this bullshit. Like nobody has stepped up and said like, hey, maybe we could do better than Gary Bettman. like I know he has great decisions in attire, but outside of that, like
those dad jeans, man.
Outside of that, he sucks.
Well, a lot of people point to the fact that the NHL has grown leaps over bounds, blah, 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 in terms of revenue. And then you point to comparatively what all the other sports leagues have done. And then Gary looks real impotent,
really
real
fucking bad.
fast.
Yeah. It's like the NFL grew, and I'm just making out numbers, but if the NFL grew like 4,000%, the NHL grew like 17. And you're like, huh.
Yeah. Yeah. We got better, guys.
Like, not to mention the, like, playing hardball with ESPN and having to settle for verses, locking themselves into a stupidly long contract with NBC that proved to be not even remotely financially sound.
I mean, it looked okay at first blush, but was just too long.
But like anybody could have seen that these revenues were going to rapidly expand. And he was just like, you know what? No, I'm good with mediocrity. Let's roll that dice.
What's more American than that?
Well, Gary
management just good with some mediocrity.
Yeah, I mean, it's really disheartening when like half of the NHL fan base goes, well, that was clearly rigged, and like you don't disagree with them. Like,
so what happens when Bedard gets exposed as mediocre?
first off, I don't think it's gonna happen. Like,
Yeah.
here in I was texting with my brother today, and I was like, I actually kind of hope Bedard sucks now.
A lot of people do. And like that would be very, very funny, but also not entirely without.
Yeah. But nobody wishes that because of anything that Connor Bedard did.
Yet.
Everybody, yeah, like there's probably some tweet about him hating gay people out there somewhere.
No, I mean,
But,
like, yeah, what if like something happens and he's, persona non grata or something, or I don't know. He's the guy distributing all these Seventh-day Adventist books, like whatever.
Did you get those too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I threw mine in the recycle bin next to the mailbox. I was like, fuck this. I feel bad for wanting him to fail and wanting Adam Fantilli to be just like the second coming of Jesus. I mean, Connor McDavid.
But wouldn't it be funny?
It would be funny, and it would be deserved. And not for Connor Bedard.
Right. He would still be a victim in all this.
Yes.
And that's why I like kind of go to him like somehow turning heel, because it's like, we need a reason to want him to fail.
I hope he has like
apart from the Blackhawks.
I hope he has like a Hulk Hogan NWO turn, like where like he changes his entrance theme and he comes in and like starts wearing all black and
then he sues Gawker for $1 bajillion and makes them close down.
Yeah.
And finances his lawsuit by his relationship with Peter Thiel. Yeah, like that heel turn.
Yeah,
that's a heel turn.
That is definitely a heel turn. The thing that I feel bad about wanting Connor Bedard to kind of fail, but mostly I just want. Maybe, you know what? Maybe he can be like extremely good. Everybody else in Chicago sucks.
Right. And as I said in our text thread, Connor Bedard has officially signed in 2040 with the New York Rangers.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of go to ESPN and all this.
And he'll actually be the youngest player on the Rangers team at that point.
Yeah, they still have Mika Zibanejad.
Discredit to Mika Zibanejad. He's awesome, but like
he's a DJ.
Everybody on the team is so old.
They are. I think of ESPN and all of this and like how they have gone just fucking gaga over like Jamarcus Russell and Tim Tebow, and look how that happened. Look how that went, for these teams that like.
Mel Kiper said Jamarcus Russell was a can't miss prospect.
And yeah, I mean, he couldn't miss a day without codeine syrup.
Yeah, he couldn't miss a day without a trip to the buffet. Look at that rhyme. I'm a fucking poet.
Pulitzer right here. Yeah. Award it.
Give it right here. Yeah, ESPN, I mean, they have a long history of doing this, like just like slurping hard on the phallus of
the top draft
any athlete that they can. And
if it's a top draft pick that is like a position player, or I don't know, they went fucking hard for Tebow, like fucking like
his
they were
sophomore year of college or his freshman year of college.
Like they went succession and just like decided like, hey, this is our guy. We're going to amplify him no matter how epically he fails.
That guy who did
professional level.
That guy who did circumcisions in the Philippines. Yeah, that guy. And you know what? Maybe Connor Bedard did circumcisions in the Philippines. And if that's the case, weird. But like, well, I mean, he's like 17, so like that would just be weird to be doing as an underage person. Like that, he shouldn't be trusted with medical procedures.
He also seems way more fucking normal than Tim Tebow.
Hopefully, he's more normal than Connor McDavid too. Like
he seems like Connor McDavid bot, but a little warmer. Like an improved, like a V, like a version 2 or 3,
like Gen Z-ish.
Yeah, a Gen Z McDavid bot.
Like he would have been Connor McDavid, but he's been hanging out with Trevor Zegras.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know how much more I have to really say about this other than like I don't wish ill on Connor Bedard, but I do wish ill on the Chicago Blackhawks. And like I think, between the rape thing and the racist mascot thing and the obvious tanking and the like zero repentance for what was done,
what you're hoping for is a holdout.
Yeah,
Eli Manning style.
I don't want to go to San Diego. I want to go to New York.
Eric Lindros style.
Yeah. The only downside to that would be, Peter Forsberg was part of the Lindros trade. Mm-hmm. And when Quebec moved to Colorado, they won a cup. If the Blackhawks move somewhere and win a cup there, I'll be ecstatic.
Branson, Missouri.
Yeah.
Branson Blackhawks.
They're moving to Salt Lake City. Yeah. Where the beer doesn't get you drunk, but God damn it, it's beautiful.
But the God will.
Yeah. That Mormon God. That grave robbing rock farmer God.
The other ridiculous thing that you might be hoping for is the Ricky Williams playbook. But it would have to be after the fact.
You'll have to refresh me on this.
Somebody trades their whole draft for one player.
Yeah.
Like Winnipeg is like, we're going to give you like our whole old ass team and all our draft picks.
Yeah.
For Bedard.
Mark Scheifele,
Blake Wheeler,
and 7 draft picks.
And like
honestly, that'd be worth it probably. He's so good.
And like, yeah, the only player you retain is like Hellebuck and then like Adam Lowry and
Kyle Connor.
Only because you fucking trade Kyle Connor too. Fuck him. But
he's a good Michigan boy.
But is Adam Lowry even still on the team?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, you keep him because you have no money and his dad can be coach.
Yeah, for super cheap. I'm just really mad. And somebody was like, "Oh, you're just mad because the Red Wings didn't move up." I'm like, no, I'm not mad.
No,
the Red Wings stayed exactly where they were supposed to. That's fine.
You and everyone else, because everyone legitimately hated this. Everybody hated this.
Even some Blackhawks fans were like, "We don't deserve this."
And I, as a disaffected former Blackhawks fan, agree. They didn't fucking deserve that. Like, in a fair universe, Connor Bedard does not go to the Blackhawks.
In a fair universe, they fall to like 8 and still get a good player and whatever. But
sure,
Connor Bedard goes to a team that actually deserves him.
But you talk about like the comparative sort of penalties that other teams have had to pay for not hiding a rape situation. The Coyotes got stripped of a first-round draft pick for
having workouts.
Yeah, having workouts at a combine and putting kids in shorts.
Yeah,
like they're the fucking
joggers only, bitch.
Right. Yeah, the NHL is fucking Mennonites. They're like, oh, these prospects can only wear jean dresses.
You cannot show your ankle in public, you hussy.
Exactly.
You harlot.
Exactly. Versus, yeah, harlot, you touch my toe.
Yeah.
Versus the Devils, who got a draft pick stripped for signing Ilya Kovalchuk to what was a legal contract at the time.
Perfectly legal contract. Yeah.
And Marian Hossa signed to an almost identical contract. No pick stripped from the Blackhawks.
Yeah. No, like people think that Bettman's baby is the Coyotes, and they're right. But he is bedfellows with the Blackhawks.
Oh, he's got multiple babies. It's like Succession. It's like figuring out which one his favorite baby is at the time.
The Penguins, the Blackhawks, the Coyotes.
Gary Bettman is Logan Roy.
I don't get that reference, but I appreciate it.
You should.
I don't watch Succession.
He's so it's like Logan Roy is supposed to be Rupert Murdoch. and he's ruthless and conniving and uses his family and has made it into this like sibling Hunger Games. And that's what Gary's been doing. Like, he's got the Blackhawks, he's got the Coyotes, and then like
Pittsburgh for sure.
Yeah, and then like the thought of Atlanta, maybe. Because according to Kevin Weeks, that might be a thing.
Yeah, Gary Bettman sucks. This sucks. I kind of hope Connor Bedard sucks. That's the end of the story, I think. That's all I got. I'm just disgruntled.
You know Connor Bedard is he's not going to suck. Like,
no, he's not going to suck at all. He'll probably score like 75 points his first season, and we'll be like, fuck, he's really good.
I feel like he's going to have like 3 shitty games out the gate, and people like, what's up? And then
be like, Austin Matthews scored 4 goals in his first game. What are you doing, Connor?
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to be like, well,
he's going to be like eating pancakes like everybody named Connor.
He's like, yeah, this team is so shitty and they can't put anyone around me. He's going to decide to go back to college.
Yeah. He'll look at their roster and be like, I think I'm going to go play hockey in Boston for a bit.
Yeah.
BU looks real tempting.
Yeah. He's going to get an education in medieval metallurgy so that he can homemake Easton aluminum shafts. Hipsto, ironically.
He should just hit up Brendan Shanahan. He's probably still got like 200 of them.
He's probably built a house with those fucking things.
Yeah. He just like pulls one out of the plaster of his house and gives it to him. He's like, I don't use lath. I use aluminum sticks. Here you go, buddy. This one's for you.
So, coming out of this draft lottery, do you have any other thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams?
I somehow hope that a center or a right-handed defenseman falls to the wings.
Okay.
Other than that, it's a pretty, even with the super high end, like you have like Bedard, who is holy shit. And then you've got like Michkov, who's probably going to slip because he's a Russian, but is probably like Corey Pronman and Scott Wheeler are both like, he is just behind Bedard in skill.
Oh, absolutely. It's just a question of you don't get to see him for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. And so he's going to fall because of the Russian thing. You've got Adam Fantilli, who is a fantastic
He may just
prospect.
get conscripted any day.
Yeah, there's also that. He might be in like fucking Eastern Ukraine in 2 weeks.
He's going to be the next dude, like surrendering to a drone. Did you see,
I would.
Did you see that fucking video?
No, but I would too. I'd be like, no, you got me.
This crazy video of a Russian soldier surrendering to a drone after another drone like takes out his 2 buddies with a grenade. And he's just like, fuck this, I'm done. I'm
not getting killed by a machine.
And there's this like whole exchange where he's communicating with the drone or several drones that are like ferrying notes to him, but also communicating via like shaking themselves in the air, like up or down to say yes, sideways to say no. And so he says like, are you going to beat me, in like kind of sign language? He's like, punch me, no. And they shake, no. and you know, he's like, vodka, drink, and they say yes.
But like all of the drones came together to make a face and spoke out of the mouth of the drone face.
No, that's just a Muse concert.
I don't like how this goes forward. I've played Horizon Zero Dawn and I am not looking forward to our dinosaur robot overlords.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, maybe that's fucking Connor Bedard after a couple years of being surrounded by nothing in Chicago, because they have nothing. They have nothing in the pipeline. They have traded away anybody that was worth anything, even the young players. It made like they tanked so fucking stupid hard that I kind of think they're likely to pay the price for it. I mean, we saw Buffalo pay the price for tanking for Jack Eichel, in that they still have sucked. Like they got lost in the wilderness to try and get to the promised land, and they couldn't build a winning team. Like sometimes you can suck so bad
until they traded Jack Eichel and got Alex Tuck.
Exactly.
It was amazing.
Yeah, but it is possible to suck so bad that you can't get out of tanking when you need to. And I think the Blackhawks may have fallen into that.
Fingers crossed, bro. Speaking of teams that don't suck, the playoffs are underway, are actually nearing their completion, we should say.
Well, I think we're technically at the halfway point.
Well, yeah, but
there's
only 4 teams left, though. I mean,
sure. I mean, yeah, we can't watch hockey literally every night except for one game.
Games played wise, we are nearing the conclusion of the playoffs.
Yeah, but that's a hugely weighted statistic.
It's still like 2 months away.
We're past the best time of the year, which is 2 to 3 hockey games every night.
Oh God, the first 2 weeks of the playoffs is just like music. It's great.
But the NHL did do us a solid, and they have scheduled the next couple of rounds really nicely. If you look at
it's one game a night.
Right. It's perfect. And I'm basically going to schedule my life around these games.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll kind of quickly recap what has happened. Mm-hmm. So Carolina and New Jersey was mostly like Carolina and Jersey, which is odd because Jersey is normally so loud. Carolina's just that good. They're down 3.
They're 3 best players.
No, well, Sebastian Aho's playing. Jacob Slavin's playing.
Okay, fine. Yeah, Tervainen is not their 3rd best player.
And neither is Max Pacioretty. I mean, he's only played two games for the team, so he can't. But Andrei Svechnikov is one of their best players. He has more
busted Achilles than he has games played for that team.
Yeah, but they are down a lot of talent, and the machine just keeps humming along, really.
Yeah, they muscled New Jersey. Get that? Rod the Bod.
Yeah, he's
muscular.
Because he's got muscles. That's why you're saying that.
He muscled. Carolina muscled Jersey like it was some moonshiner muscling the situation at the bar.
Carolina muscled New Jersey like Rod the Bod putting on a button-up shirt.
Dude, that's got to be a struggle.
He just pushes it around until it somewhat fits.
His tailor is like, I hate you.
Yeah, stop doing this.
Can you stop working out so hard, Rod? No.
As he's doing curls. No. Do you carry those barbells with you everywhere? Except for the shower and bed with my lady friend. Sometimes bed with the lady friend.
I do like that Rod Brindamore came out and said that coaching NHL players and coaching children is kind of the same. From a hockey coach level, yeah. But his team is looking amazing. They are firing on all cylinders. They got Jordan Martinook to go nuclear. What the fuck?
Love that guy.
You love him, yeah. The Svechnikov.
Yeah.
And
never gets old.
Notorious for just crazy yelling lineup announcements. I don't understand why they released him in the first place, but they released him and then brought him back, and now he's turned into their version of old man Connor McDavid. I mean, he's kind of sort of like a Rod Brindamore in a weird way.
Yeah, except he didn't have the unfortunate mishap of going to Michigan State. It was a really weird series in that New Jersey looked slow.
And they looked slow because I think Carolina did a really nice job of kind of tactically changing up their zone entries, and also their defensemen just did an amazing job of gap control and shutting rushes down in the defensive zone. I mean, Jacob Slavin was an animal in just putting Dawson Mercer, Jack Hughes, Igor Sharangovich into the fucking boards. No matter if they kind of got around him, he slowed him down enough for full coverage.
Yeah, somebody to recover and get in position behind him. Yeah, it was really a textbook display. And, I don't know that Rod Brindamore gets enough credit for this. Like, his teams play an extremely defensive version of hockey, but it's extremely aggressive to the point where it looks like it's offense.
Yeah.
And, they kind of coined or started the term power kill. Which sounds like a move in Doom, but like
sounds like an energy drink from the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's like power kill and surge and nutbuster and chest hair.
Yeah, you can only buy it at a gas station.
That's like, and it's in a cooler that may or may not be on. Like,
in the bathroom,
the lights are flickering. It looks like you pull up and it looks like a Resident Evil setting. Like,
it's something that they test truckers for,
or like Silent Hill.
Power kill.
They're a well-coached team that plays a great system. They're fun to watch despite being that very defensively oriented.
Yeah, it's defensive, but it ain't boring. That's for sure.
Yeah, like, pay attention, New York Islanders. Like, stop killing Matthew Barzal and play some fucking offense.
There was a very interesting moment where Jordan Martinook, in a scrum, ripped off Logan Siegenthaler's helmet.
Jonas Siegenthaler.
Sorry, Jonas Siegenthaler. In a scrum and not inadvertently, forced him to leave the ice, as you have to do per rule, which led to a critical goal early in the series. And that's playoff hockey, baby.
Yeah, and it was a rough series for Siegenthaler because he's also the one who shot the puck out of his own zone over the net or over the boards and took the penalty in overtime that decided the series. Granted, that series was already done anyways, but it's a rough day for Siegenthaler, who's actually had a really nice kind of glow up in New Jersey after coming there from Washington.
But yeah, tough day at the office.
Yeah, tough day for goalies in New Jersey.
What even are goalies anymore?
That's honestly very poignant to say, because
that's the lesson of this playoffs is like WTF goalies.
Yeah, Vitek Vanacek, after having a really solid regular season, like, I think shitting the bed would be putting it nicely, was just really bad in the playoffs.
Yeah, is so far so that he gave the crease to Akira Schmid, who, I mean, he did sort of turn back into a pumpkin a little bit, to quote Puck Soup.
Yeah,
he's fucking time. Yeah, that's their favorite saying.
Yeah, he's not the answer probably, but he looked a lot better than Vanacek did in the playoffs.
Right, because he's sort of a journeyman already. So he doesn't have a whole lot of pedigree there. He's got an amazing name.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely. Yeah, he's still out there somewhere powering up.
Yeah, but long-term Akira, probably not as dominant as the anime monster Akira.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who could be?
The kittens, on the other hand.
The kittens, that's actually the answer to your question, is who is. Fucking Florida, man. Not Florida, man. Fucking Florida.
Well, they are going Florida man on the rest of the fucking league, because this once 120-point team, nascent in the regular season, has come alive in the playoffs, and boy, them kittens are hunting.
They and they're mostly like a ball of yarn. Like, they're not hunting mice and pigeons in the backyard. They're hunting swallows.
Whatever poor fucker the Toronto Maple Leafs put in net.
Which, I mean, when Toronto made their moves in goal in the offseason, everybody was like, that's probably going to come back to bite them. And then all regular season, the Leafs were like, look at how good they've been. Like, Samsonov has had a great season. Matt Murray, when he's healthy, looks pretty legit. Garrett Wall is awesome.
When he's healthy, was like 15 games.
And then the playoffs happened, and like just fling and dung, just like a rhino with diarrhea, just like all over.
So they kind of went WTF goalies, but too far. Like you can't rely on Ilya Samsonov for a whole cup run's worth of performance. You can't rely on Matt Murray to be on the ice longer than 5 minutes. What you got?
Yeah, it's funny.
It's great.
I mean,
it's so great.
The last episode, we kind of bantered back and forth about whether or not it was good that the Leafs made it out of the first round, and that joke is dead. Well, this joke might be better because they got flattened.
Yeah, I mean, they got flattened so hard that all the goodwill of them getting out of the first
evaporated.
Like fucking morning dew in the sun.
Like bong smoke at a Cheech and Chong concert. Like bong smoke at a Cypress Hill concert. Like,
I hope you don't cut that.
Yeah, I'll keep them both in. It's just Cheech and Chong just felt too dated.
Yeah, also
Granted,
that's not a concert. That's what's great.
Yeah, no, they have concerts.
Cheech and Chong?
Yeah.
Those were movie characters.
Yeah, but they did shows and stuff, I thought.
Did they?
I think so.
Oh, I don't know.
I think that was a whole act.
Maybe joke's on me.
Yeah. And I mean, they're in a band in Up in Smoke, right? Yeah. Anyways.
LOL Leafs.
Yeah. Wow, Leafs. Matthew Tkachuk might win the Conn Smythe even if the Panthers are kicked out this round.
And he probably made his way into a Hart Trophy nominee partially by what he's been showing the voters in the last couple of weeks.
He's been like the constant stirrer of shit that he has always been, and he's always kind of had that extremely gifted offensive talent. Mm-hmm. It's like if you're measuring radiation levels at Chernobyl, like it's going on the spectrometer. Is that what it is?
Dosometer?
Radometer? I don't know. Anyways, he's really fucking good. And the next test for Carolina's defense and their system is dealing with Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah.
Because
he's special.
He has played his way into easily a top 10 player in the NHL if he wasn't already. And on impact level, like on skill level, sure, yeah, top 10, top 15, whatever. On impact level, though, he might be a top 5 NHL player.
Absolutely.
Like, what he brings to the table.
Also swag. Like,
oh yeah,
dude just has buckets of swag.
The mouth guard chewing, right. Seemingly picking fights with every fan base in the NHL, mm-hmm. And winning. He's definitely the epitome of NHL player who you hate if he's not on your team, but if he was on your team, you would fucking love him. And second place in that category is his brother. So, and then the third is like the person who should be kind of an honorary Tkachuk in Tyler Bertuzzi. So like it's like he's their long lost older brother. Matthew Tkachuk's having a special offseason. There's no way around it. Sergei Bobrovsky is having a special offseason. He's like sort of kind of maybe justifying the absurd contract that they gave him. Mm-hmm. This series is the only one that I'm actually really interested in of the two conference finals.
We are skipping ahead a little bit, but yeah, that is definitely one that I'm just really interested from game one, from the jump. Like, what's the vibe? How are these guys playing against each other? Because ostensibly they play a very similar style, and Florida's got some serious talent. They don't I don't think they have the depth that Carolina does. I don't think they've got the defensive talent that Carolina does.
Oh, nobody's got the defensive talent that Carolina does.
Right. So, I mean,
Carolina trades away good defensemen because they've got other good defensemen.
the Leafs looked shocked and uninspired against
They were bad.
against Florida.
They were just really bad.
And I kind of thought of the fake headline for the Beaverton. You know, it's like the hockey onion for the uninitiated. Kittens play with their food.
Like just eating leaves in the backyard and vomiting them up in central Ontario. Like,
Right. It's like whenever you see like an actual street cat with a mouse, it usually like befriends the mouse first and then eats it later.
No, we're best friends. Broken neck. So I think we're left with what is actually a compelling series in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. I would still pick Carolina.
Yeah.
But if Florida executes a beatdown in game 1, all bets are off.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to say tomorrow night, but this may not come out until Friday. So, it might be tomorrow night or yesterday. You decide which one is correct.
I feel like a beatdown between these two teams is going to be like 2-1.
Yeah. The interesting thing there is, Bob is playing really well. Carolina's goalies have been fine, but they're not.
They're like Midwestern mom fine. They're fine.
They're
fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
Fine.
How's
Freddie Anderson? He's been fine.
How's Kevin's drug habit going? His recovery? It's fine. There will be. We're going to get a real test here of both teams, I think, and that's what makes it compelling. They play similar and yet very different styles. Paul Maurice has brought a much more stable style to this team than his predecessors did in the high-flying last year Panthers. I just can't foresee Paul Maurice getting a team to the finals.
Yeah, that's a whole fucking aside. Is why didn't you just stick with Andrew Brunette?
Yeah.
Like he's now either a coach in waiting in Jersey or about to get hired away to some other head coaching job. But Paul Maurice has been good? Question mark.
In the playoffs, he has. They had to make a mad dash at the end of the last month of the regular season to even make the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. The difference between the headline of Panthers miss playoffs versus what we've seen was like so razor thin.
A point.
For a minute.
A single point.
Yeah. That required the Blackhawks to win.
So, cool. I'm not too worried about that though. The real questions are ahead of us for both of these teams, and we'll see if Carolina can make it to the finals, and this time they won't have to play the Red Wings. So lucky for them.
I think the real story, or I guess interest going into the series, is like the human interest pieces. Rod the Bod Brindamore is now coaching against Paul Maurice, under whom he got his coaching start. And Pete DeBoer is, similarly like leading Dallas against the team that fired him in Vegas. And then you get the Stahl show. All three brothers that are currently in the NHL are in this series right now in various capacities. Several of them are ghosts of themselves, but they're all on the roster. So it counts.
Only Jordan's really still a super effective player, and that's
right.
Not as a skilled forward, but as a shutdown defensive center.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what his best moments were anyways.
But he was a very skilled offensive center for a while. Like he was a much better version of like Matthew Deneau.
Sure.
Whereas now he's he's not going to fill the stat sheet offensively, but he will lock down your top line and force Jack Hughes to cry. So,
but also Eric has scored some big goals in this playoff.
Cool.
And then like Mark is somewhere.
Yeah, he's got that tin visor, and
Mark is he's doing his thing.
He's Mark. That's
Malk.
Malk.
There is technically a fourth Stahl brother, but we assume he's either been disowned or possibly executed.
On the other side of the continent,
the West was won.
Well, the Western Conference is actually encompasses like 2/3 of the continent, but like,
I mean, if you think about like the concentration of political power and population in like the early part of American history, that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I get it. And like,
the NHL living in the 1880s.
The Dallas Seattle series went 7 games. It was probably the most entertaining of the series that came before it, the 4 conference semis.
A lot of the quarterfinals were kind of performative. Like the first round was nice and chaotic, and then we kind of got chalk in the second round.
At least in the East, like the Leafs do what the Leafs do in the playoffs. Carolina
lose,
like tore Jersey asunder. The West, however, we had a couple of slobber knockers, and
no one expected the Kraken to be here.
Yeah, the Kraken are doing it in a way that
it's novel.
Yeah, it's not how you build a good team in the modern NHL,
but it is. It's Moneyball. Like this is
sort of.
I mean, what they did is they got cheap players. They got a cascade of cheap players, and by cascade I mean that
they're in the Cascades range.
Yes. And that the like Vegas was like, we're going to get all the good players. We're going to get good quick. And they've struggled because, well, some of those players are maybe overvalued. And Vegas says, we are going to get a ton of cheap players that have deals that sort of waterfall. And so they have cost protection on these guys forever.
Yeah.
And the ability to like add stars, because I mean, they got what it was like 10 goals out of 12 different forwards on that team.
Yeah. I think the key here is they are able, because they don't have to spend 9 to 12 million on any of their players, they can spend 3 to 4 million and get better third and fourth line guys and third pairing guys who can contribute offensively while still locking people down. I think the key there is that they, like, your first and your second line might be better than their first and second line, but it's not going to be by a huge margin. Well,
no, and their first and second line are nicely defensively minded.
Right.
And so you've got a bunch of guys that can, like Jared McCann, scores 40 goals, still pretty defensively responsible. And you've got Yanni Gourde, great defensive forward.
I love Yanni Gourde so much.
Gourds.
Good. If that dude's not the captain in Seattle next year, they're doing.
Who's the captain this year? Schwartz?
I don't think anybody was. I think they're like they
went captainless. That's weird. The one team with like ship kind of adjacent logo goes with the fucking no captain.
Yeah, no captain, my captain. It's a bummer to see them get knocked out because it was one of the better remaining stories out there. What we saw, and I don't know if I called this out on here or like just talking to my friends, but Philip Grubauer was so good against Colorado, against the team that jettisoned him, that refused to pay him.
And he kept it up.
Sorta.
I mean, spite will do a lot of things in life. We know that,
absolutely.
right? Like,
yeah.
so many people achieve greatness purely out of spite.
Yeah. But against Dallas, he wasn't as good.
No, because Dallas also better.
Well,
it's crazy to think of like Dallas as a higher scoring team than Colorado, but Colorado injuries as fuck. Like Dallas right now, their secondary scoring is kicking into gear, and they don't even have Jason Robertson at full steam.
Yeah, he hasn't been playing. He hasn't been scoring at all.
No, I mean he the back end of the series, he's been shooting like crazy and hitting posts.
Yeah,
like crazy. Like
there is that.
It's coming.
He hit like
coming.
7 posts in that series, and you're like, all right, let's see what happens.
Like you could kind of tell, like Kraken maybe got a little lucky to push Dallas to where they did.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's the way Seattle plays, which is high energy all the time, keep it up as much as possible, and then weather it when you can't. And we saw that in this series where they play that way. I mean, if you watch Game 7, in some ways, I thought they were really taking the game to Dallas. And I mean, Grubauer finally had an excellent game in Game 7. He was a monster in Game 7.
Yeah, but then Ottinger would make the save, and then you would get fucking Miro Heiskanen, who would skate it 3/4 of the way, and then have, like Tyler Seguin had a great series. He looks like the player they've always wanted him to be.
And so I think there's the better team won. And
absolutely.
And really, like, the key there is Dallas, and I think this might be the thing that makes them probably not a cup favorite, but I'd say like probably second to Carolina or maybe second to Vegas. I don't know. But they've got the best goalie left.
Sure. He's looked a little shaky at times, but maybe more like he's injured or just tired. This is Jake Ottinger's first season as like a true bell cow goalie. And there's a reason we only see a couple of these bell cow goalies. I mean, like it's him and Vasilevsky and a handful of other guys that like really control a crease. And like, so it's sort of like his rookie season as being the guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's absolutely predictable that he might kind of just get exhausted at some points. And that, like, I think Dallas was smart with it in that when shit hit the fan a couple times in the Kraken series, they just pulled him.
Yeah.
They're just, okay, you're done. Cool. Wedgwood, get in there.
With his Ninja Turtles mask. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things of the playoffs so far.
It is lovely. And great journeyman goaltender story, Scott Wedgwood. But Jake Ottinger will be fine. Like, he'll perform when he needs to. He's a absolute beast. It's just probably got a little tired.
Yeah. On the flip side of that Western Conference Finals coin, we've got the Vegas Golden Knights, who I think everybody's just kind of tired of at this point. Like, okay, Vegas is here again. Cool. Like I'm kind of over it.
Is it crazy to think that they missed the playoffs last year?
Yeah. I mean,
that seems like it was
they were fucking awful last year.
Right, yeah, but it also seems like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Turns out when you get, like, I get on my high horse about this several times, but I think this is a decent time to do it. When you trade for players, it takes time to adjust.
Yeah.
And I think we saw that with Florida this year.
Calgary, for sure.
We saw it with Calgary for this. I mean, and that's failure to adjust. Like, the Sutter way did not work for those dudes.
Yeah.
Vegas took time to adjust to Jack Eichel, and Jack Eichel took time to adjust to Vegas, and now that Mecca is at full power.
Yeah,
and it's fucking scary.
He's having a great playoffs. Vegas, in a lot of ways, kind of asserted dominance over Edmonton. Edmonton's gonna fly high, right? You know what they're going to do offensively. You know what's coming at you.
They just sack tapped Edmonton.
Yeah, they suck at defense and they suck at 5-on-5. And
what do you call it in video games when you do the like squat thing? And
from Halo, I can't remember.
God, you're the gamer. Come on.
I'm not an Xbox guy. I'm a PlayStation guy. I bought a PS5 specifically so I could play Horizon Forbidden West.
Specifically so I could not play with other people.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Fuck other people in video games. I don't need them and they don't need me. No, I think
I need you.
Oh, that's just not with video games. I think we saw kind of what we've seen from Edmonton every year, which is their incredible offensive talent doesn't hold up in the playoffs.
And it's the depth. Like they're a roller hockey team and then they just can't defend.
They're a silver team where their top line is balls out and then their second line is dudes who are only playing in silver to keep the average down.
Yeah. And the question is always going to be goaltending with this team because it's like, if you have a star goaltender back there, maybe you weather that.
Yeah. Stuart Skinner was bad. He was bad.
Yeah. His mom was yelling at him.
And it was Stuart! And it was kind of surprising to see that Raycroft didn't put Jack Campbell in sooner.
That was crazy. Is that one of the other like WTF goalies? That is, to me, the through thread in this entire playoffs. It's like Ullmark never getting sat when you have Swayman for the Bruins. It's this where, Stuart Skinner, he got you to the promised land, but you have this other guy who's fresh, who's good generally, and like just don't even give him a shot when your other dude is struggling. Like
that's why you have a backup goaltender.
Right. And
because of these situations.
Right. Vegas has 3 backup goaltenders.
Yeah. They all would have played better than Stuart Skinner.
Carolina's got a good number 2.
And a good number 3. like
Jersey. Yeah. Imagine if Carolina still had fucking Ned.
Yeah.
Jersey also faltered in the goaltending position.
Yep.
Kind of goalie first. Kraken goalies played great. No harm there, but like Leafs goalies?
Bad. Yeah.
So, WTF goalies, but also hot goalies. Like you get the right goalie in the right position at the right time, and you can go far. I mean, that's the story of NHL playoff hockey that is as old as time.
Yeah, and the thing about Vegas is, much like Gushers in the 90s, for fun in the sun, you don't have to go far. Just open a bag in the air you are. Anywhere you are. But they're already in the sun and they're having fun and, they're getting excellent play out of Aiden Hill.
I was going to say, is Aiden Hill a gusher?
I don't know what his sexual proclivities are,
but Aiden Hill, basically like a cardboard cutout cast off by San Jose, has provided Vegas with .940 goaltending over a series.
Yeah, after Laurent Brossoit went down with that injury, it was like, what's Vegas going to do? And the answer is get better goaltending.
Yeah, Laurent, come at me, Brossoit, was having a really good series and only seceded due to injury.
Yeah.
So like they now have 4 goalies. Really the story is the goalie coach. Sean Burke was actually called out by his head coach as like doing an amazing job. And when you have the equivalent of the 4 members of Nickelback as goalies in Aiden Hill, Logan Thompson, Laurent Brossoit, and like a sprinkling of the ghost of Jonathan Quick, he's turned them into the fucking Beatles. And it's
like, what era of the Beatles? Are we talking
White
like
Album.
Help, or
No,
we're talking like Revolver,
White
Album?
Yeah,
Okay.
White Album, Revolver. They're Aiden Hill is a 940 goalie on what fucking planet?
This one, it turns out.
Turns out Earth now. It's this dude has painted his Sistine Chapel of coaching with making these goalies as good as they are. And that's one of the things I'm looking for in the next series is, can that hold up against Dallas? Because Dallas's secondary scoring is turning on. I mean, Rupe Hintz is dropping hints. And as we've been saying, Jason Robertson, not at full power yet. Can this, I don't know, hardy foursome of goalies for Vegas hold up against what has been really good Dallas secondary scoring? Is that's going to be what I'm watching in the next series very closely.
Yeah, and with that, we're gonna get Dallas Vegas, a series that nobody wanted. Like nobody likes Dallas, and people are tired of Vegas, and I'm gonna root for whoever comes out of the East.
Have you seen the map of it's Hockey Nation, and it's just the whole southern half of the U.S.
Yeah. Oh, you should never put teams in warm weather cities. Have you seen who's in the finals? Like,
yeah, so let's go.
They all warm weather.
Let's go there. Is the cold weather gatekeepers? Everyone has been complaining. After the Western Conference Finals and Eastern Conference Finals have been set, everyone's been like, "This is the worst thing in the league," and it's like, no, this is actually the best thing. I think on the whole, it's better that we have a bunch of warm market teams competing for the cup. They're not traditional teams. And so you have then the chance to pull in fans that maybe otherwise aren't paying attention to hockey, just by virtue of the fact that, hey, you're competing for the ultimate prize in North Carolina or Florida or Las Vegas,
Yeah, I was actually just arguing with somebody about this on the comment boards on The Athletic.
Was it Tim Pool or Tim Peel?
No, but Tim Peel, like Ohio, nothing good comes out of him. There was a comment that Gary Bettman has actually been a great commissioner for the NHL because he kind of created the migration to the South. And that is why they have great TV deal now. And I'm like, one, it's not a great TV deal. It's just the best TV deal they've ever had.
It's decent.
And two, they already had all those teams in the South when the OLN and when the NBC contracts were signed. The reason the OLN contract happened was because Gary decided to play hardball with ESPN, and ESPN was like, "We don't fucking need you, bud."
Yeah.
And so, like, you're right. Like, it is good. It grows the game. It's good to have hockey in non-traditional markets. And the fact that these teams are much better run than their Canadian counterparts kind of speaks to the fact that hockey has become that much more prominent in these non-traditional markets, because for every, Ken Holland was bad in Detroit. He was bad. And he was
bad in Edmonton.
That's the point. Ken Holland was bad in Detroit, and they demoted him to hire Steve Yzerman, and he left, and the place he had to go was Edmonton. And yeah, Edmonton's got the best player in the world there, but the best GM they could get after Peter Chiarelli just sabotaged that franchise for a decade was the guy who had just sabotaged the Red Wings for 6 or 7 years.
200 hockey men come back to make roost.
Yeah. And so this is, it's kind of a barometer that, the problems
that these Canadian teams are facing is largely self-immolation, honestly, in a certain sense of the word.
Sean McIndoe of The Athletic did a really good kind of explainer on all of the conspiracy theories, reasons, thoughts on why Canada is not won a Stanley Cup in the last forever. And basically the best that him and Dom Lashushkin could boil it down to was just awful fucking luck. Meanwhile, Gary Bettman has made NHL teams like my hair follicles and just migrated them to the South.
They got a lot of butt hair in the NHL.
Yeah. Maybe one of those butt hairs going back to the North soon. We'll see. But overall, moving forward, we got 4 teams left. Who you got?
I think I'm going to go with Carolina versus Dallas in the final.
Okay.
I think Ottinger is the difference in that Vegas-Dallas series.
Okay.
And while I'm not fully convinced that this Panthers team is as good as they have been, I think it's more that I just think Carolina's depth wins out, especially on the back end, because Florida is does not have good depth on their defense. And so there's going to be especially after seeing what Carolina just did to New Jersey, I think, is Florida a different animal? Yes, absolutely. But if anybody is prepared to dominate a different animal, like a kitten, it's definitely...
Yeah, Carolina buried New Jersey like they were Jimmy Hoffa.
We'll never find him.
Exactly.
Jack Hughes is dead.
I don't see them quite doing that to Florida.
No, I don't think they're going to do it as substantially, but I do think ultimately, I think we're looking at a 6-7 game series, but I think ultimately Carolina's defense.
All right, I'm just going to go exact opposite of you.
You would.
For funsies.
Yeah, it's better that way.
Give me
liberty or give me death.
Give me Vegas. And give me the kittens. Kittens in Vegas.
Yeah.
Going Gorillas.
There's no wrong answer, I think, here. Both
There
of these
really
series
isn't.
seem like a toss-up.
It's fun. It's interesting. So do you Ultimate Cup winner?
I hate to say it, but I think Dallas wins.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Vegas.
All right.
I think this ends up being Jack Eichel revenge tour.
And Buffalo is still happy that he's gone.
Yeah, for sure.
We've spent the last, 5-10 minutes speaking about the Kitties. Speaking of other Kitties, we got some PHF free agency news, starting with a shot across the bow of all other PHF teams by the Boston Pride.
Wait, go.
By bow shot, I mean the Boston Pride were like, you know what? We got talent in our backyard. Let's just go get Alina Mueller out of Northeastern University.
Yeah, they're just like, they sent some scout, like, just in an Uber.
It was probably like Kaylee Fracken was just like, I'll go check her out. Sure.
She seems all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to drive the less than 5 miles.
Yeah,
it
do
is to
that.
Go to Northeastern University.
Yeah, do that. It's Alina Mueller, for the uninitiated, is probably the best European forward in the world right now. She's spent the last 5 years at Northeastern University kind of just dominating women's hockey. I believe was a finalist for the Patty Kazmaier 5 times in those 5 years.
Jesus HW Christ.
She's just been unreal good. And this is just another move of rich get richer. Boston always has an absolutely loaded team.
Yeah, they just reload like Alabama every year.
Yeah, they were like, oh man, Elizabeth Jaguar's gone. I I know what we can do. Got this.
Got it.
And so this isn't their only signing of the offseason, but it's by far the biggest outside of like re-signing like Taylor Wenskowski and some others. We'll do our PHF preview sometime in like October, probably before their season starts in November.
But it's getting juicy now.
The PHF offseason, our free agency last year was like the only year that it was like relatively tame.
And I mean, that's just because they didn't expand the salary cap and
exactly. And this is going to be and like small tangent. This is going to be a huge offseason because, as we've already seen, some PWHPA players are starting to change over to the PHF, which seems like a smart financial decision.
This is
and security decision.
The first couple ones we've seen is like the first couple banks we've seen collapsing. Like it's a bellwether, and the gates are open.
And we'll see what happens with the big names in the PWHPA. Something tells me that they are going to stay because they know they're getting paid regardless.
They're going to stand pat. They have their positions in their respective national team programs.
Right.
That like the PWHPA just exists to augment national team programs.
Mostly Canada and the US.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. But
does it augment any others?
There's some European players in there.
Sure.
But what we're seeing, like, we're not going to see Kendall Coyne Schofield playing for the Whale. Like, we're not going to see the big names. Amanda Kessel's not going. Like, no. But what we might see is those mid-tier players choosing the security and the increased competitiveness of the PHF, instead of the potential of the PWHPA.
And the reaction probably to some player exodus is like the PWHPA finally getting their fucking act together and making this thing a league.
Maybe.
I mean, but they also may be too far behind the ball to make it happen, because we've heard talks about like payment of players being akin to like a summer job if you're a teacher.
Yeah. I mean, the player contracts last year were for $24K, right, which is not nothing.
But we're talking about Kennedy Marchment now making almost 10 times as much.
Yeah, making $130K for playing in a more stable league, and
okay, fine, only 5 times as much.
Like, that's McMansion money, right?
Right.
Like, that's
get that suburban McMansion.
That's very solid. Like, that's great money.
Get more roof gables than Lauren Gable.
Yeah, like that's that, and that's for 24 games, right?
Right.
So that's a huge financial commitment to these women, and even makes the NWSL look like pauper money in some ways.
It really does. That's a really great observation. It's like, holy shit, the PHF is going to maybe smoke the NWSL in terms of compensation, average compensation moving forward. That would be dope.
And we'll see how that plays out, right? We'll see how, does this financial upswing come with continued stability of the PHF? Do we see expansion? There was talks floated about an 8th team coming in somewhere in some, unknown location.
Yeah. Or do they go pets.com and just fucking implode?
Yeah.
For sure. And Kennedy Marchment, fucking eBay mastermind, $130K. Like, that is...
It's, as far as we know, the second highest contract in the league behind Daryl Watts' deal in Toronto.
For now.
It's almost a 10th of the salary cap for the Whale if they spend to the limit. We're also seeing Montreal kind of leveling up. It's like Montreal ate the mushroom
The Montreal Force.
Yeah, like
I'm sorry, I keep wanting to call them the Montreal 7.
Yeah.
As an extension of the Toronto 6.
yeah, the Montreal Magnificent Seven. Yeah, Montreal went out and said, we weren't great last year, but we were pretty close. We were pretty close to good.
They were competing.
What can we do? And so, you know what, they just went out and signed a former Patty Kazmaier winner and Elizabeth Giguère. They also signed Corinne Schrader, who just had the best goaltending season in the history of the PHF.
Yeah, for the uninitiated, the person with the last name Giguère is not goalie.
Yeah, not the goalie in this conversation.
Giguère, incredibly prolific forward. Over a point a game last season with Boston, and talking about the goalie, Corinne Schroeder had the best goaltending season in the history of the PHF, winning both Rookie of the Year and Goaltender of the Year. Boston's going to be good again. I'm just going to put this out there.
They're not going anywhere.
Right. And that is kind of the dynamic that has been set up. It's like we have this fucking Death Star of Boston, and then everyone kind of in some way exists in their shadow, and that someone got one over on Boston this year hard.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a pretty convincing win against Boston.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Minnesota, who had trouble scoring all year, was like, how about we do it now?
Right. How about we just do it in one game?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's puck luck. But it's also, that's hockey, baby.
As other teams kind of try and navigate the shadow of this Death Star, who is Alderaan and who is the Rebel Alliance, right? Like some will get blasted into like an infinitesimal amount of dust particles that just float through space until they get sucked up by some forming star.
Alderaan.
And others will come like Luke Skywalker and save that motherfucker, right? And so who is the Luke Skywalker in this? And an early
it's
candidate,
Michaela Grant Mentis, always.
That's true. That's fair. But the early candidate here is the Riv.
Yeah.
The Metropolitan Riveters, because while Alina Mueller is a huge coup, Kennedy Marchment getting 130K, great win. The Force stealing Elizabeth Giguère and Corinne Schrader right out from underneath the Pride, big deal. None of them signed quite possibly the best goaltender in the world.
From the other league.
So Nora Ratty, who is one of the most decorated hockey players of all time, is a surefire Hall of Famer in multiple countries. Also a founding board member of the PWHPA.
Spicy.
Has signed with the Metropolitan Riveters.
Spicy.
Just for like,
and this is one of the first true ship jumps we've seen.
Well, so Nora Ratty spent the last couple of years playing in Europe, and not with the PWHPA, despite being a founding member.
She had to spend enough time away to get them to forget about her.
She signed a contract with the PHF and was immediately removed from the PWHA board members list on their website. So there's definitely some hurt feelings here. Just like,
just slander.
Just to kind of give some kind of background on Nora Ratty, one of the best seasons I've ever heard of in my entire life in any sport. In 2012, Nora Ratty was the goalie for the University of Minnesota, their women's ice hockey team. She went 38-0.
I guess that's okay.
That's, yeah. Suck it, Miami Dolphins. Like 38-0. gave up 36 goals that season, less than a goal a game, a .96 goals against average,
9-6,
.96,
Jesus HW
a
Christ.
.956 save percentage, and 17 shutouts.
So she shut out almost half her games.
That's legitimately ridiculous.
That's stupid.
They've also played, and I think what is like, they have, I think, 5 medals from IHF World Championships, like a couple of Olympic medals, I believe. They are legitimately in contention, if not very clearly the best goaltender in the world right now. And this is a hijacking by the Riv.
Right. Boston Pride no longer having the best goaltender ever.
Yeah.
And like Minnesota, Loon Pads maybe having something to compete with.
Well, like Corinne Schrader had the best season in PHF history ever, but like,
Right.
and Corinne Schrader is a great player, but she's not the best goalie in the world. Like, this is bonkers.
Well, and like Amanda Levier, maybe could almost lay claim to that. Like, it's cool to see a goaltending arms race.
And we thought we saw it last year. Tough Mustard went up to play in Toronto, who already had Elaine Chuli. We saw Corinne Schrader coming in to replace Emily Burt on a team that already had Lovisa Sealander. There's been a clear intent from the PHF to upgrade their goaltending, and this is Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Well, and you're seeing these teams that have 2 legitimate number 1 goalies just because there aren't enough teams to spread all of the number 1 goalies around to. And a lot of these teams have 2 to 3 goalies that could be the person for a franchise. There just aren't enough franchises.
Yeah, So here we go, right? Like, we're about to pony up into the stratosphere in the PHF, and really what we are looking at is, can the PWHPA respond, or is it too late? And it might be too late.
Signs say too late because
the star power of the PWHPA is hard to ignore.
No, it
but
totally
they can't get a
is,
league together.
And they're too dependent on the national team dynamic.
Absolutely.
And that, I think, is in flux enough that it makes it difficult to start a true league. I mean, I think they have designs, they have wants, they have an ideal league, and I think it's the very basis with which they get these really good players. It's these national teams. I think that's kind of the problem with the league, because it's hard to. The national teams are always going to put themselves first. They're never going to say, "Hey, we're going to run out of players to this league," and
yeah.
Whereas the PHF, they don't have that. They don't have, for better or worse, they don't have, it's a crutch. Like the PWHPA, the national teams for them, they're a crutch. And the PHF is never going to have that. I think to mostly their benefit, because they've had to kind of figure out how to be this upstart league, but they have a full commitment from their players. And the PWHPA is never really going to get that. They just by design, they aren't.
Yep. Yeah. If Canada and US play a Summit Series in the middle of the season, the PWHPA is on hold because most of their players are gone.
Exactly. And like, does a PWHPA All-Star team beat a PHF All-Star team? Probably. Is it a good game? Possibly.
I think so. Especially if Noah Ratty's playing.
And I mean, that could be cool. Let's get a true grudge match. Would that ever fucking happen? No, because GMs are too worried about being embarrassed.
Well, and the PWHPA clearly just has some disdain for the PHF. And
yeah, they came so close.
For better or worse.
They came so close to embracing, and
the PHF sent this big document over to the PWHPA saying, hey, you know what? We know we fucked around in the early years of this league. We know we didn't treat our players with the respect they deserve, but
we also found out.
Yeah, we found out.
and we're willing to share those findings.
And has taken substantive leaps. They provide healthcare. Their players are making a living wage.
Wait, I'm American. What is healthcare?
Exactly, right? Yeah. This is the PHF is doing a lot of things correctly as of late. Getting Regan Carey on board as the commissioner was a huge step. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of those PWHPA players know Regan Carey.
And you get the sense that the PWHPA players are like pining to like get over. But it's like the second that you become a backup goalie for the national team, maybe you want to jump ship.
Yeah.
Because there's a run on goalies in the PHF.
Yeah. So I think there's a really good chance that we see there's a really good chance that we see a future where the PHF just kind of is the league. And
I'm not against that.
Yeah. So
it seems like they've kind of earned it at this point. One kind of feels bad for the BWHPA, but we want to see a unified women's league where everyone is competing at the top level against each other. I mean, I think that's the vision, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, that's the vision that like the NHL struggles to get together. So it's not easy, but yeah, it really seems like the PHF is trending towards being the league, and we're fully fucking supportive of it. I mean,
we're going to fully support the PWHPA as well. But
sure. Like, we would love to watch all of them at the Sports Bra. We just can't really find time to get a seat there because it's always too busy.
It's too fucking busy for us. Yeah. Speaking of jumping from women's hockey to women in hockey, our quick hits section for the end of this episode starts off with the Portland Winterhawks selecting goaltender Morgan Stickney out of Shattuck St. Mary's with the 215th pick in this year's WHL draft. Morgan is 15 years old and has been drafted, which, I mean, that is how the CHL and WHL operate. But they are the first female American selected in the WHL draft ever. And it's well earned. We talked about some great goaltending numbers earlier. Here's some more: 24, 4-3 with a .928 save percentage and 1.52 goals against average at Shattuck St. Mary's,
which would be against about the best talent that you have. Absolutely, at that age level, right?
Absolutely elite level talent that they're playing against. So that's a huge milestone for women in sports, a huge milestone for the WHL. And I'm fucking thrilled that it's our Portland Winterhawks.
Yeah, it'll be really awesome. Like, she's going to have a battle, to get playing time to.
Well, the Winterhawks are deep, man. They always have good goaltending.
Right. They're a really good team. Just to see her get in a game, just to see her compete will be super cool. So, we'll be watching. We'll be trying to go to those games and see her play whenever she gets a shot.
100%. Yeah.
So, out in the desert, Yotes don't get the votes.
And if we ain't get no tolls, we can't buy no rolls.
I
believe that's a Robin Hood Men in Tights joke.
The Arizona voters authoritatively rejected the Arizona Coyotes' bid for a new stadium in Tempe.
As they should.
One feels bad for the Coyotes, but shit was kind of crazy in the political battle for this. Like, there was like signs saying like billionaire rape city, and like,
because it's true.
Yeah, I mean, this was going to be one of the more billionaire financed stadiums in a hot minute. Am I happy to see it kiboshed? Kind of.
Absolutely.
But also, I feel bad for the Coyotes.
I feel bad for the Coyotes and their fans, but like, fuck billionaires getting handouts. This is bullshit. You're a billionaire. Build a fucking arena.
Sure, but the handouts were going to like max out at like a quarter of the cost of this.
Don't care.
And that was like the tax break.
Like, study after study shows that arenas and arena districts do not actually encourage growth.
Oh, yeah.
Or encourage or bring new wealth into a city.
And the housing portion of it was going to be like underneath the flight line and approach for the Phoenix
Sky Harbor.
Yeah, Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. And so that was one of the, like, Tempe, the city was actively suing to prevent this because they said, yeah, this is breaking land use laws that we had previously made.
Yeah.
So am I butthurt to see it go? No, not terribly, but like the Coyotes, like I feel bad for them. I feel bad for Clayton Keller.
Sure.
He's basically become like the person I feel worst for in this whole fucking scenario. A borderline almost star player that has just been relegated to Arizona for his entire career so far, and try as he might, he's only managed to like get to an all-star game like twice.
Yeah, there are people who are getting screwed in this entire situation, but I hope it just ends up being the billionaires, because fuck them, we don't need them.
Well, I mean, the billionaire in this scenario was going to pay something like 75% of the bill.
Don't care.
And keep them in Arizona.
I mean, if the people of Tempe aren't willing to foot that 25% of the bill, do they really care that much?
People have spoken.
Yeah, I feel like we've gotten a good barometer of where the city of Tempe and the Phoenix metro area in general feels about the Coyotes, and it is to say, fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off, bud. We don't care.
Yourself.
Go to Houston. And there is a chance that they are relocated by next season. I mean, it's small, but it's real.
Yeah. I mean, the Nordiques made it to Colorado in record time. So
yeah, I mean, the Whalers relocated to Carolina in like 5 months.
Hell, the Baltimore Colts went to Indianapolis overnight. So like,
yeah, I mean, that the moving trucks is forever the image.
The Mayflower moving trucks. Yeah.
I don't think they're gone by next season. I think they stay.
I don't either.
And play in mullet. I think Gary Bettman is so invested in keeping them there. I know he prepared for this eventuality. I think he probably saw the writing on the wall.
I don't think he's ever prepared for anything. Except his outfit for the Lake Tahoe game.
Yeah. Except a trip to Kohl's.
Yeah.
He
Can I get these jeans with pleats?
no, Gary.
Damn.
We only make them flat front, buddy. But that's why you get them for $30. What sucks the most here, I guess, to me, is something I've kind of read out earlier today. The junior Coyotes. They're like really fucking good and like competing internationally and killing it. And where do they go? You know, what is their story? Because if they move to Houston, maybe that just goes along with them, but you got to build. Like that is a community organization. If they go to Canada, those organizations already exist and that doesn't exist anymore. So, or do you get this sort of like marooned junior hockey apparatus if the Yotes leave? And maybe that still exists. Like maybe Arizona State is enough of a buttress to kind of help that fledgling hockey market thrive. And maybe they get a team again, is what like some people have said if the Yotes leave. But there's too much political bad blood right now. The Yotes organization has not shown that they can fulfill their financial duties. And so that's what's making this all a fucking huge problem is everybody's worried if they do business with them, they're not going to get paid.
Well, I mean, their players didn't get paid for a while there too. So
right.
like,
And now you have fucking Clayton Keller's dad out on Twitter saying he's going to hold out if they don't move or if like, and so we're entering a very messy end game for this franchise. And I mean, yeah, the NHL could take him over again somehow. They can try and move them, Houston, remake them. We have the technology, but Clayton Keller always gets screwed.
this is my last comment on it and we'll move on, but they should move him to Anchorage.
Dope.
Yeah.
I love it.
Time for a team in Alaska.
Right. Like you can only take like small Cessna planes, float planes to get there.
Yeah. You got to rent out a whole armada of them.
It takes an Iditarod dog sled to get to the game.
Speaking of armadas, a whole bunch of folks are signing up to buy the Senators, and famous people galore. I mean, we talked about Snoop-a-Loop last week or last episode. Ryan Reynolds' consortium bid for the Senators will not proceed, according to ESPN.
Yeah, so where we had the weed group, and then thanks to The Weeknd joining this, we had the hard drugs group. Unfortunately, we have lost the gin group.
Which gin sucks anyways, so
Oh,
that's fine.
fuck off. It's summer. It's gin time, baby.
Yeah, it's summer. That's why I want to drink pine trees. I don't really have anything to add to this until we get an actual owner of this. I do miss the fact that we're not going to get the Ottawa Wrexham FC Deadpools as a team. But you know what? That's okay. Speaking of okay, and by okay, I mean like okay. Philadelphia hired noted TV personality who kind of sucks, Keith Jones, as their president of hockey operations. This is great for broadcast booths because we don't have to hear him speak anymore.
Addition by subtraction.
Yeah, but probably terrible for the Flyers.
Well, he is a former Flyers player, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, I understand why they made the move.
Yeah, because
like,
they're all fucking chasing Broad Brindamore.
Yeah.
Like that is any team that hires a popular former player is chasing Rod Brindamore.
There's some real Matt Millen effect coming in right here. And I foresee this going poorly. But the thing is, the bar is set so low with Chuck Fletcher that like anything is probably an improvement. So we'll see how that goes.
What's the worst thing that can happen? Your GM's son goes ape shit?
What's the worst thing that can happen? Oh shit, you already hired Torts. Never mind. Yeah, and Tony D'Angelo. Whatever.
Philly is a fucking tire fire. And they're going to be a tire fire for the foreseeable future.
Oh yeah.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah, at least one of the teams in Philly can suck.
Like the Flyers, it's gonna be the opposite of love boat. It's hate boat.
Yeah.
It's like
it's below deck.
Want that to be televised somehow. Give me Torts versus Keith Jones. Give me Torts versus
Danny Briere. And at some point somebody says, yeah, and your kid's a scumfuck.
Love it. Love it to death. Oh my God. Yes. Give me I want to be a fly on the wall in this Philadelphia fucking
a flyer on the wall.
I
hate myself.
But yeah, moving on. Is there an echo in here? Because Gabe Landeskog is out for the season again.
Yeah, he after a year of being out, they decided, you know what, you need surgery, bud. And so, and I don't know the medical history behind this.
It's not good.
So
it's a low percentage surgery.
Yeah,
it's like a Greg Oden surgery.
Oh well, that worked out real well.
Yeah, it's a
Greg Oden was also 74 years old when he got drafted.
Yeah, well, you play in the NHL for 10 years and you see how old you feel.
Oh,
Landeskog, I got a pretty rare low percentage victory knee cartilage surgery.
Yeah.
I hope he plays again.
Same. Oh, absolutely.
Like, if he doesn't, at least he got a cup.
He definitely got that. And, you know, it's then we get to see Nathan McKinnon as captain. And, you know, that's just going to be like just hell on wheels.
Right. Landeskog was the cog in the wheel, so to speak, just allowing those players to eat regular pasta.
Yeah, he was just like slipping it behind people's backs. Like, it's okay, Cal. You don't need to eat your namesake. It's cool.
Yeah, so here's some regular gluten.
Here's some cereal for you, bud.
It's like Nathan McKinnon is captain. No! Only chickpea pasta!
Speaking of no, John Anderson, who is normally quite good on ESPN, made a pretty big blunder by mocking Zach Whitecloud of the Vegas Golden Knights name.
We've gotten some criticism for gently making fun of player names. This is a place where us as amateur podcasters know not to go. Yeah. And it's crazy to see a professional just go in there and just, yeah.
Anderson said that a Whitecloud is not an acceptable name except in toilet paper, which
is a dumb,
it's a bad joke,
not funny, and C, racist.
Yeah.
The one fucking saving grace to this guy is like he didn't realize he was being racist. Like, a whole lot of people get a whole lot more excuse for unknown racism to First Nations people, and it's like that shit needs to fucking stop. Also,
he also spelled Zach Whitecloud's first name wrong in his like apology tweet. Like he spelled it ZACK instead of ZACH. It's like,
I mean, that's within the
but it's
autocorrect.
But it's like, yeah, also like do your fucking
homework. My Android autocorrect is like super fucked up.
It's awful right
now.
It
is really bad. I don't understand. Like Android autocorrect sucking may be driving me back to getting an iPhone because it is just that fucking bad.
I like it when it changes the word I put in and then tells me that I used the wrong word. That's fun.
and changes it to like something unintelligible. It's like I'm trying to say like the word mood and it changes it to like Boobs. Because I said that once.
Yeah, boobs are great. But yeah, Whitecloud actually reached out to Anderson.
After Whitecloud gave a just gut-wrenching press conference, basically.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
He talked about using his grandfather's name and carrying on the legacy of his grandfather's name, the pride he has in being a First Nations NHL player.
He won the hearts and minds of the people.
Well, Zach Whitecloud handled this so incredibly well.
Absolutely.
He reached out to John Anderson first, and he said, that's just how I was raised. Was we reach out to make amends even when we have been done wrong.
Because you've been done wrong a lot.
Yeah.
As a First Nations person.
Exactly.
He handled this with so much grace in this press conference. He was so measured, he left the space for empathy for the people that had done him wrong.
Yeah,
which
rarely happens.
Right. And if you're going to be the bigger person, that's how you do it. So huge props to him. I didn't see the John Anderson riff because I kind of didn't want to.
Yeah.
Because Zach Whitecloud's interview with the reporters was so good. I just didn't even need to see the other side.
Yeah.
He told me all I needed to see. And props to him. A player that we've rooted for, a player that we fight over in fantasy. We like him, and we like him even more now. So it sucks that it had to happen this way, but the world got exposed to who Zach Whitecloud is as a person, and that's a good thing.
We're going to end this one on a lighthearted, kind of fun, silly note. So the OHL playoffs have been going on, and the Sarnia Sting and the London Knights met in a 7-game series.
Yeah, all of the NHL teams in Canada are out, so all they have to root for is OHL and WHL teams.
And right. And so Sarnia was a big underdog. They were one of the last teams to make it into the playoffs, won their first round series. And so as a friendly gesture, the mayors of Sarnia and London made a wager. The wager was that if Sarnia won this series, then a crosswalk on Sarnia Street in London, Ontario would be painted yellow and black for the Sarnia Sting colors. Mm-hmm. On the flip side, if London won, then London Street in Sarnia would have a crosswalk painted yellow and green, or gold and green, in London Knights colors.
What's more Canadian than having every other Canadian city as a street in your town?
Yeah, we do it with states usually, but we
mispronounce them, so it's like fucking Alabama.
The London Knights ended up being victorious in Game 6, winning the game in Sarnia. The crosswalk was dutifully painted. There is no timeline for how long it will stay painted. Hopefully they just leave it, because that's kind of funny.
I want to know.
And what a great legacy to why is that one crosswalk different? Let me tell you a story about junior hockey.
Right. That's so fucking Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to meet the public works workers that were okay, we need to get artistic now.
Yeah.
In shame.
This was the photos of the road crew doing the painting. They're just laughing hysterically while they do this painting. So,
which is exactly that's how public works.
It's actually how it should be. Yeah. So congrats to the London Knights for their victory over Sarnia, and congrats to the residents of London Street in Sarnia for getting a fresh new crosswalk. That's all we got for today. Thank you as always, for listening to us as we pontificate. You're actually our only friends, so we're very happy that you stick
Thank
around.
You for being our friend.
Yeah. We traveled down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And that'll be as far as I go down with the Golden Girls theme.
Yeah. If you aren't sick of us, we're at handsomhockey.com, where we have not only podcasts, but long form articles now. We're real bloggers. Handsome Hockey Podcast on Instagram, at Handsome Hockey on Twitter, handsomehockeypod@gmail.com if you are millennial emailing fiend, Handsome Hockey Facebook page for our parents. And I need to get caught up on uploading our shit to YouTube, but we have it there too.
We're all over the internets for your perusing pleasure or displeasure, whatever. If you hate us, just keep listening to us. That's fine.
We take hate listens.
Tomorrow is Thursday, which means we're about to get an influx of listens for some reason or another.
Thursday's a big listen day for us.
Yeah, so
kind of love it. And it would be cool. I don't know. It'll be cool no matter what, but it'd be cool if we got the episode out on that day and got this a huge spike.
Maybe. I'll see what I can do tomorrow.
I'm sorry. Zero pressure.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel now. I'm just going to go home and start whipping myself at my desk chair now. Thank you, as always, for listening to us. And, if you're a Leafs fan, we're sorry.
Yeah. We really are. It was sorry.
Sorry.
It's a tough life as a Leafs fan. You got to hand it to them.
Oh, it's hard rooting for this team with decades of history and famous players and
but their rent is insanely high.
A half decade of failure now.
Congrats to Phil Kessel for having escaped all of that shit.
Yeah, good for him. Eat your hot dogs, live your life, and stay handsome, everybody.
Restez beau tout le monde.